Conservative New Media viewers and JLin fans around the world, what's going on? It's me, PFV, Paul F. Villarreal, the NBA expert, and we've got an update on JLin. Some news has come in, or some apparent news, and it's very positive sounding if you want Jeremy to stay with the Houston Rockets. Now, before I get to that news, I just want to add some other news. I've seen it around on ClutchFans and other places around the internet. Apparently, Jeremy has been spending a good amount of time this summer so far at Stanford University, which is in Palo Alto, California, where Jeremy lives, where his family is from, and where apparently he is staying right now. And that's great to hear. You know, Jeremy's getting himself to the gym, and he's working. As we've talked about earlier in the summer, I'm sure he's working on three-point shooting and working on dribbling and working on everything. There's been a lot of talk about Jeremy this summer, people saying they haven't heard much about him, and maybe that means something, or it means this, or it means that. Personally, I think it's good, because to me, what it means is Jeremy's working on his game, and he's trying to keep a low profile. Now, I believe Jeremy is going to go on a tour of Asia in about a month, or about 3 weeks to 4 weeks from now, like early in August. And, you know, we'll cover that. We'll take a look at that when it happens. So part of what happened with Jeremy last summer was, I think the team, or at least some people on the team, believed that Jeremy wasn't working hard enough on rehabilitating his knee. And that kind of leaked out to the media. And it leaked out because somebody wanted to put it out there. And so, you know, Jeremy, again, he was coming off Lynn Sandy, got the big contract, was doing the tour of Asia, kind of making his name, you know, and that's typical. I mean, that happens, right? And now Jeremy's done with that. He's got his money. He's got his Volvo commercial or commercials in Asia. He's done that. Now he can work on his game, as what we've talked about several times in videos here before. So I think he's kind of being deliberately low profile this summer. Now, part of that may have been, or may be, that the Rockets might have told him, look, we might have to trade you to get Dwight Howard, or to get other people. And I know I've mentioned that in other videos. So whatever the case is, I don't have a problem with this. I know people are trying to read into it, and what does it mean, and all this stuff. It might mean nothing. It might mean something. It might mean that the Rockets told him not to say too much or whatever. But now that seems like it's starting to lift. And that's what I want to get into with more of the news. But just to wrap up this first point, if JLin is just kind of staying low-key and playing a little bit of hoops and working on his game every day and out of the spotlight, I'm perfectly fine with that. That's good from my perspective. I know we talked earlier in a video this summer with, there was a picture Jeremy had taken with one of his brothers where, you know, he had shot 1,000 shots in a training session. Good. If Jeremy's shooting 1,000 shots every day or something along those lines, I'm thrilled. I don't need to see him or hear about him. Just go to work. And that's what he's doing. And as we know, JLin knows how to work hard. That's how he got where he is, academically and athletically. He knows what he's got to do, and he's doing it. Great. So that's good. Now, on to the new news. I've got several different pieces of information about this in the video description below the video player, so you can check it out about what I'm going to mention here. There was a tweet, 2 tweets set out, I don't know, several days ago, and I got this information on ClutchFans. The first one was from ClutchFans, meaning it was from Clutch, I assume, saying that Chandler Bieber Parsons, had sent out, had told Clutch or somebody else that Clutch got the information from secondhand, that after Dwight Howard had his press conference, which is going to take place tomorrow, Saturday, July 13th, 2013, that a number of the Houston Rockets were going to go out to L.A. and have kind of their own little mini training camp so they can all start building chemistry, start playing, get out on the court. Let's run some plays. Let's just play around, get used to each other, build some camaraderie, build some chemistry. When this came out, Jeremy's name wasn't mentioned. A bunch of other people were mentioned, like Chandler, like Patrick Beverly, like some other guys. And so again, many people were speculating that Jeremy wasn't going to go. And what did that mean? Did that mean he's not going to be around anymore? He's going to get traded? This is another sign. It's another sign that Jeremy Lin's going to get traded. So there was a lot of speculation about that all over the internet, certainly on ClutchFans. Now, one of the things I told you guys in a recent video was that I believed or felt that we might not start to hear more news about Jeremy until Dwight Howard was signed. And what I said about that was, look, there could have been discussions with Dwight Howard or with Dwight Howard's camp, his group of associates. Maybe they were interested in trading Jeremy Lin for whatever reason. And I'm not saying they were, but maybe they were. So if you, as a team, want to sign Dwight Howard, well, you got to meet his demands. You've got to work with him. So if there's a feeling that, hey, maybe they want Jeremy Lin moved, or maybe they want a third star, and that might mean trading Jeremy Lin, well, if you want to sign Dwight Howard, you better look like you're trying to get a third star. And so, as I said then, some of this supposed trade talk might have been kind of a bluff by Houston until they signed Dwight Howard. Well, Dwight Howard's about to sign, and now we're starting to hear information about Jeremy Lin. So this is going down exactly the way I thought it might go down. Get Dwight Howard on board, and then you might stop hearing about Jeremy Lin trade talk. Now, I'm not sure of that, but if you do start to hear less about that, then I'm going to think it's exactly what I just said, which is they wanted to make sure Dwight Howard felt like he was being taken care of, and they were giving the appearance of, yeah, we're going after a third star. We're doing everything you want us to do, so sign with us. So keep your eyes out for that. If you start hearing a whole bunch of stuff about Jeremy after Dwight Howard signs tomorrow, there's a good bet that that's exactly what was going on. Now, the news that came out about Jeremy specifically, Kevin Ding from the Orange County Register, who is a Lakers beat reporter. A beat reporter is somebody that follows the team around. They cover the team day in and day out. He put out a tweet, I think earlier tonight, Thursday, July the 12th, saying that Jeremy Lin was going to attend and participate in a soccer game that's being held by Steve Nash in L.A. So it's like, okay, we haven't heard anything about Jeremy. Now, all of a sudden, Jeremy's going to go to a soccer game with Steve Nash in L.A. And I guess Nash does these kind of charity soccer games, and various NBA players play in them. So all of a sudden, Jeremy Lin's going to L.A. Well, guess what? The supposed mini camp for the Houston guys is taking place in L.A., and it's probably going to start this Sunday or maybe on Monday. So, wait a second. Maybe Jeremy is going to go to the training camp after all, even though people were speculating he wasn't going to go. Then, Chandler Parsons, Bieber, put out a tweet himself, I think, today, kind of just mentioning Jeremy. Like, I think a fan or something wrote to Bieber and said something like, hey, is Jeremy Lin going to stay in Houston? And then Chandler answered it in kind of a joking way, like, hey, Jeremy, are you staying in Houston? Like, in other words, are you in Houston right now? So it's kind of, it was a joke. But it's the first time Chandler has mentioned Jeremy Lin in a tweet in a while. So it's another little sign, like, wait, maybe Jeremy's not going to get traded. He's going to be in L.A. right around the time of the minicamp. And Chandler's talking to him again on Twitter. Uh-oh. Looks like, we got a different picture emerging here. And finally, tonight, I don't know, about 8 hours ago, new Houston Rockets guard draftee Isaiah Canaan mentioned in a tweet that you will see also in the video description below the video player that he was looking forward to going to L.A. to work out with various members of the Rockets, including Jeremy Lin. So, this is how a story emerges. This is how a storyline gets put out there. For a while now, nobody's heard anything from Jeremy Lin. We've heard stuff like, well, there's rumors that the Rockets are trying to move him. Why isn't Jeremy Lin welcoming Dwight Howard on Twitter? How come Jeremy Lin wasn't mentioned about maybe going to this Rockets mini camp, et cetera, et cetera? Well, today, you got all the opposite of that. And as I said, I think the timing isn't coincidental. It's right around the time when Dwight was about to sign. So, the good news is this. As of right now, on late overnight, Thursday, July 12th, 2013, here in the United States, it's looking pretty good that Jeremy Lin's going to be around with the Rockets, at least for right now. And it's looking a lot better than what it was looking like for the last week or two. Again, based upon trying to interpret the news that was coming out and the news that wasn't coming out, not hearing anything about Jeremy around the team or with Dwight Howard and stuff. That's very good. That's a very good sign. Now, that doesn't mean Jeremy's not going to get traded, but it's starting to look like he's not going to get traded based upon this information. If Jeremy wasn't going to be a Houston Rocket next year or didn't think he was going to be a Houston Rocket next year, he's not going to the mini camp, or he's not supposedly going to go to this little informal mini camp in L.A. Why do that? You're not going to play with these guys. Well, you might be friends with them, but you know what I'm saying here. This is starting to look favorable for Jeremy staying in Houston. And as you would imagine, the doubters aren't happy. Now, these are the people that were playing up, hey, he didn't say anything to Dwight. He's going to get traded. Oh, there's trade rumors. He's going to get traded, et cetera, et cetera. Now they're kind of, they're kind of back on their heels and feeling a little less certain that Jeremy Lin's going to get traded. And on that same topic, I've been reading different things around the internet regarding Jeremy. One of them was an article from a guy on Real GM named Jonathan Tjarks, Tjarks. Look, I don't know Jonathan Tjarks at all. I know who he is, and I like Real GM, the site, a lot. He seems like a competent writer, but he doesn't seem like a Jeremy Lin fan. And he wrote something the other day that was essentially saying, look, Houston needs to get a third star. They need another star. Remember, we all thought Houston might get Josh Smith. But what I took out of the article was that Jonathan Tjarks wants Jeremy Lin off the Rockets. He wants to trade Jeremy Lin. Now, of course, he's saying that he wants to trade Jeremy Lin because you need a third star. But when you read what he wrote, a focus of it is he's not real big on Jeremy Lin. And I went back and looked at some of the other articles that he's written, and I remembered one of them. And in it, he said that he thought Patrick Beverley was better than Jeremy Lin, or a better fit for playing alongside James Harden than Jeremy Lin was. And then I went back even further and read a piece that he wrote when he wasn't even with Real GM or for another site, basically saying that Jeremy Lin wasn't very impressive and was easily replaceable during Linsanity or right after Linsanity in New York. So, again, I don't know Jonathan Tjarks, but he doesn't seem like a Lin fan. And so I saw that. And then on ESPN, Chris Broussard, who seems to have pretty good connections to Dwight Howard, among many other players in the NBA. And I like Chris Broussard a lot. But he talked to several different sources about the Rockets. And he wrote a story like, hey, are the Rockets going to be contenders next year? And in the piece, he interviewed a couple different unnamed Western Conference coaches. Coaches, I could probably guess who they are. I'll just put it that way. But I'm not going to say that because I could be wrong. And one of them said something like, oh, yeah, everybody knows Jeremy Lin's not a great player, but playing with Dwight Howard will make him better. It's like, it's just Diss City. Everybody's taking shots at Jeremy. Look, Jeremy's not a great player yet. Maybe he never will be. But I'm not sure why the coach felt the need to point out Jeremy's not a great player. Did somebody say he was a great player? Where does this come from? And so when we talk about the Jeremy Lin phenomenon, this is part of it. This is part of it. The reaction to Jeremy, the pushback against Jeremy. And that's important to understand that. I know that Andy over at Jeremy Lintelligence is very good about this, pointing out these, kind of the phenomenon of Linsanity and how people react to Jeremy and stuff. And you have to understand that. Again, I don't want to focus on haters or doubters or whatever, but you have to know they're out there and they have a storyline that they want to sell about Jeremy, even if it's not true. Some of these people, no matter what Jeremy does or how well he plays, they're still trying to sell him short. And it's important to understand that. Because even if Jeremy does well, that's still going to be there. And I've done a lot of stuff with the media. I know how the media works very well. I've studied the media. I've done media analysis. I've done a lot. There's many writers who have their own agendas. And it's not just Jeremy. There are plenty of writers that don't like LeBron James. There's plenty of writers that don't like a lot of people in the media. There's plenty of writers who will take an attitude that somebody is getting more hype than they deserve. You saw this plenty with Tim Tebow. So those writers make it their agenda to cut down that person that they feel is getting too much hype, whether it's Tim Tebow or Kobe or LeBron or Jeremy Lin. So I just want you guys to know that even if Jeremy has an amazing season next year, there's still going to be plenty of doubters, and there's still going to be people pretending he's still not that good and he's a fluke. And that's unfortunate, but it's real, and it's important to understand that. I see Lin fans all over the internet all the time saying, why do people hate Jeremy so much? And it's a good question, and it's part of what I'm talking about. There's an agenda by certain people, and you just have to know that. It's like I said, it's unfortunate, but Jeremy's used to it. He knows it. He's gone through it his entire basketball life, I'm sure from elementary school to the NBA. And so it's just part of the deal. You know, you just don't be surprised if you see this stuff, no matter how well Jeremy plays. And don't let it bother you. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's just part of the package. So the better Jeremy plays, and the more it looks like he's going to stay with the Rockets, the more you're going to hear these people try to get him traded and talk about him being traded and putting him down. That's because they're afraid that he's going to succeed. So I just want to let you know that. The more you hear these people talking and writing that have this point of view, the better Jeremy's doing, or the better chance he has of sticking around on a good team like the Rockets. So, look, I'm excited. This is good news. If you're a Jeremy Lin fan, this is good information. Because, look, it doesn't matter if Jeremy plays in Houston. It doesn't. As I've said, and most of you feel, and most of you know that I feel, Jeremy, I think, will do well anywhere he is. But if he plays on a better team, he's probably going to play better, because when you play with better players, you know, you look better and they get attention, so you have less attention on defense. You can do more things, and he's going to get more respect. If you're playing on a team that's doing well, you're going to get more attention than if you're playing on a team that's not doing well. You can be a superstar on a bad team, and no big deal. But if you're okay and you're playing on a great team, you're going to get a lot of attention. And that's what we want for Jeremy. That's what we want. So I hope he gets to play for this team. Am I going to freak out if he doesn't? No. Jeremy's got his money. He's healthy right now. He's going to be fine. No matter where he goes. You know, he'll be fine. But I hope he can play for Houston, because Houston has a chance to be very, very good. Not only next year, but for the next 5 years, the next 7 years. And I hope Jeremy gets to be a part of that, because he deserves to be a part of that, I believe. And I would like to see him be a part of it, but we'll see. So that's the latest. This is what we're hearing and what we know right now. This is good. Now, we'll see what happens. We'll see how Lin does in the little soccer game, and hopefully he will get to participate in this little informal Rockets mini camp that looks to be starting on Sunday or Monday this weekend. I don't know where the guys are going to be practicing at. Somebody else might know. I have no idea. There's a lot of great courts and a lot of great gyms down in Southern California. I used to live down there. You can play anywhere. There's some amazing outdoor courts down there, so they'll find a good spot. That's it. That's the latest information for now. So your comments below, thumbs up, thumbs down on this video. Once again, I am Paul Villarreal, the NBA expert. Thanks a lot for watching Conservative New Media. We strive to be the #1 Jeremy Lin YouTube fan channel. It is currently 2:42 a.m., very early on Saturday, July 13, 2013, here on the eastern coast of the United States, which means it's about 2:42 p.m. currently on Saturday, July 13th, 2013, in Taipei, Taiwan. I hope everybody's doing well. Really enjoying a lot of comments. I know there's some Lin doubters, or whatever you want to call them, trolls in the comments recently. Like I said, don't worry about it. And I don't mind them as long as they don't attack other commenters and just go off with all kinds of crazy foul language and stuff. Just, people can say whatever they want to say. You don't have to like Jeremy Lin to comment in our videos. Just be respectful. That's all it is. That's it. Don't attack other posters. So that's it for now. I hope everybody's doing great. Talk to you again soon when we get some more information. And everybody take care. Hope you're having a great summer or great winter if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, where Melody Ting and a bunch of other viewers in Australia and South America are.